Get your manhood back! John opened the door and saw his friend Eric standing on the doorstep crying. Eric? What's up, man? Come on in. It's raining outside, John said. They walked into John's living room and sat down. John's wife, Kelly, walked in. Eric, what's wrong with you? Kelly asked. Honey, could you give us some time? Maybe go to the mall or something? John asked. Sure, Kelly said. Kelly left and John sat there looking at Eric, waiting for him to say something. Eric, something is obviously bothering you. If you tell me what it is, maybe I can help, John said. Yes, help. That's why I came here. I need your help, Eric said. Okay. What kind of help do you need? Getting my manhood back. What? What do you mean? For the last 3 years, I haven't been a man, at least not the man I used to be, Eric informed me. What are you talking about? For the last 3 years, I've been a cuckold, Eric blurted out. Cuckold? I know that word. What is it? Oh, I remember. It's a man whose wife makes love to other guys. Are you saying that for 3 years Lisa has been doing it with other guys? John asked. Not with other guys, just with another guy, said Eric. And with who? John asked. Mark. Mark? Mark has been making love to your wife for 3 years? John asked in disbelief. Yes. So why didn't you stop it? At first I was excited about it. It was what I wanted the first time. I wanted to see Lisa with another guy. I only wanted it once, but Lisa invited him to come over as often as he could to make love to her. And he looked at me and laughed. And he said he understood why she wanted him to come. I couldn't do or say anything. So, Mark has been coming to your house for 3 years to be with Lisa? John asked. Not always. Sometimes she goes to his house, sometimes they go away for the weekend. Right now they're away for the weekend, said Eric. Why do you let them keep doing that? John asked. I'm not strong enough to stop them. I tried. Mark punched me, tied me up, and told me never to do it again or I'd regret it. Lisa just laughed in my face. John, I haven't been with my wife in 3 years. I don't even get to sleep in the same bed with her. When Mark comes over, he's there with her. When he doesn't, she's there alone. I've been sleeping in the guest room for 3 years, Eric said. Damn it, Eric. You're the one who's really fucked up. You go to work, bring home a paycheck, pay the mortgage and other expenses, and you have to watch Mark sleep with Lisa? It's horrible, John said. They don't let me watch anymore. They only let me watch them on my birthday and our anniversary. The rest of the time, they don't let me, said Eric. So you said you need my help. What can I do? John asked. I want you to help me with my divorce. And I want you to stop them from hurting me, and I want you to stop her from talking me out of it. I'm afraid I'll give in, John. I don't want to give in. I need to stay away from her. I need you to help me do that, Eric said. Eric cried. Okay, Eric, I'll help you. Right now, let's go to my office and start the divorce papers. You guys have a prenup, is that correct? John asked. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to use it to really get a leg up on the divorce. They filled out the paperwork. Then John called his friend Steve, who was in town visiting his parents. Hi, Steve answered. Steve, it's John. I'm asking you for one of those favors you owe me, John said. Sure, man. What's up? Steve asked. My friend Eric needs to get out of town and disappear for a while. You're going out of town soon. I want you to take him with you and let him stay with you for a while, said John. Okay, no problem. Just bring him to my parents when he's ready, Steve said. John got Eric out of town. When Mark and Lisa returned to Eric and Lisa's house on Sunday evening, John was already waiting on the porch. John? What are you doing here? Lisa asked. She was nervous because she was holding Mark's hand, and up until this point their relationship had been a secret. I'm waiting for you, John said. Me? Why aren't you inside with Eric? Lisa asked. Eric isn't there. In fact, I'm waiting for you on his behalf. What? What are you talking about? John stood up, walked over to Lisa and Mark, and handed Lisa a folder of divorce papers. Consider them officially handed to you, John said, and walked past them to his car. Lisa opened the folder and looked at the papers inside. Divorce? Is this some kind of joke? Eric is not divorcing me, Lisa said. Obviously he is. He said something about you cheating on him for 3 years. That can't be true, can it? John asked. Mark and Lisa looked shocked. John knew why. Oh, by the way, call my office if you and your attorney want to contest the divorce or any of the proposed property division, John said. John opened his car door. John, damn it, don't go. Tell me where he is. I demand that you tell me where he is now, Lisa said. I have no idea where he is right now, Lisa. He said he needed to get out of town. He did it because it's like you or Mark are going to try to get him to stay married to you. Well, and of course, we'll be in touch with you soon. Have a good night, John said. John grinned as he left, but knew there was still a long way to go. By 1 o'clock Monday afternoon, Lisa and her attorney George Williams were sitting in John's office. My client knows that in this state infidelity is not sufficient grounds for dissolution of marriage, but he feels that 3 years of blatant infidelity and hostility toward him by you and Mark have created irreconcilable differences, so he has decided to dissolve the marriage before most of his money is spent by you on gifts for Mark, such as a new car, that my client is claiming, as I'm sure you noticed in the proposed settlement terms, John said. All of this is a misunderstanding. All I need is 5 minutes with Eric and this whole situation will be resolved, Lisa said. Yeah. When he came to see me on Saturday, he seemed to agree with you on that. He was sure that if he saw you, he would agree to your demand that he not try to get a divorce. He said he was leaving town so you couldn't see him and demand that he do so. Apparently, Eric is sticking up for himself for the first time in 3 years. I have to say, I don't blame you for not wanting a divorce, Lisa. I've looked over your prenup. There's not a weak spot in it, and you're not going to get much. You're going to lose the food stamps that Mark fed you, John said. Asshole. You have no right to talk to me like that, Lisa said. Really? I'm Eric's attorney. I'm telling you that you have a lot to lose in this divorce. I am Eric's friend. I'm telling you how upset I am with what you've been doing to him. I am your brother. I'm telling you how disappointed I am in you personally. Oh, and by now Mark should have been served with some family split papers. We're claiming some serious financial compensation for his involvement in all this, John said. You're an asshole, Lisa said and slapped John as hard as she could. George, I suggest you keep your client. If she does it again, I'll have to call the police to report the assault, John said. Lisa, let's get out of here. We're obviously not getting anywhere here, George said. George and Lisa left. At noon, Kelly walked into John's office and immediately hit him as hard as she could. I've been hit twice today. I could understand the first time, but I have no idea why you're hitting me, John said. How could you side with Eric against your own sister? I know Eric is your friend, but how could you do this to Lisa? Kelly exclaimed. Well, when I found out what Lisa had been doing with Eric for the past 3 years, I didn't care that she was my sister, John said. What? What are you talking about? What do you think Lisa has been doing with Eric for 3 years? Kelly asked. Mark, John said. Mark? What do you mean by Mark? Kelly asked. Lisa has been sleeping with Mark for 3 years now. What's more, she made sure Eric knew all about it. They made him watch them together. He hasn't made love to her in 3 years. He hasn't even been able to sleep in his own bed for 3 years. Lisa spent Eric's money on Mark, including buying Mark a new car, and they both treated Eric like crap. Eric came to me, told me what was going on, and asked me to help him get out. So I'm helping him, John said. Kelly was at a loss for words. She had no idea that Lisa had done any of these things. No one knew. They'd kept it a secret for all 3 years. Why would Erica put up with it for so long? Kelly asked. Because he's a lightweight type. Because he was weak. Now he's starting to fight back. Now he's trying to regain his manhood and get rid of his cheating wife, John said. Lisa tried to block the divorce and sought a court order for Eric to face her. John went to the hearing for the face-to-face meeting. Eric wasn't there. Your Honor, If I could just see my husband, we could work this all out and get on with our lives, Lisa said. Your Honor, she's right. If she had just 5 minutes alone with my client, he would have relented. But that's what he asked me to prevent. My client wants him not to see her until the divorce is finalized, John said. Why is that? The judge asked. Your Honor, my client is by nature very shy and submissive. For 3 years he has done nothing while his wife has shared a bed with another man, spent his money on that man, and he has not stood up for himself when they have humiliated him and at times physically assaulted or abused him. My client knows that if he saw her, she would have no problem convincing him to call the whole thing off and go back to her. He doesn't want to go back to her. He wants his nightmare to end, John said. I see. So you're saying that a face-to-face meeting will result in your client agreeing to return to a hostile environment? The judge asked. Yes, Your Honor, John said. Then I will respect your client's wishes. This court will not order a face-to-face meeting, the judge said. Judge, be reasonable. I have to see him. You have to make him come and talk to me, Lisa said. Young lady, you're very lucky I'm not the judge who will preside over your divorce if it goes to trial. If I understand the facts correctly, you have no grounds to insist. Your only hope of staying married is to convince your husband to forget this divorce. But let me tell you something. Coercion is a felony, so if you accidentally talk him into doing this against his will, you'll be facing something much worse than divorce. You'll be facing jail time, the judge said. Lisa continued to use every means she could think of to get Eric to meet with her. Meanwhile, John was pushing forward with the divorce. George tried to hold him back as long as possible because that's what Liza wanted. But after 6 months, John asked the judge to hear the case and rule on the merits, despite Liza's constant attempts to block it. The judge ordered that Eric be present when the case was presented. Lisa finally thought she'd have a chance, but the judge put a restraining order on Lisa, and John, as well as several of Eric's other friends, monitored him around the clock to make sure she couldn't gain any access to him. On the first day in court, Lisa was already in the courtroom when John and Eric walked in. Lisa immediately stood up and ran over to Eric. Oh, baby, I've missed you. Tell the judge we don't need this. Everything is going to be okay. You'll see, Lisa said. Eric didn't say anything. He just looked at John. John looked at Lisa. You're wasting your time, Lisa. Eric is on his way to regaining his manhood. The manhood that you and Mark took from him almost 4 years ago, John said. The meeting began. George did his best to prepare a case to block the divorce, but by then, he realized the battle was lost. He focused more on challenging the proposed settlement and the prenuptial agreement. After that, John had to present his case. Your Honor, I have introduced into evidence video and photographic evidence of both the affair between Lisa and Mark and their abuse of my client. You've seen this evidence. My client loved his wife and, in truth, still does. But after 3 years of betrayal, abuse, infidelity, and spending money on gifts for his lover, my client was pushed to his breaking point. That breaking point came on Friday night, after which he came to me to begin divorce proceedings. My client's wife and her lover were going away for the weekend, which they did frequently. Before they left, my client overheard his wife's lover telling her that he was glad she finally let him get her pregnant. With everything my client had already endured, the thought of pretending that someone else's child was his broke him. For the first time in 3 years, he started to fight back. He wasn't going to stand idly by and put up with his wife having another man's baby, so he came to me. He asked me to help him out of this situation. He asked me to help him get a divorce, to get away from her, get back to his real life. I did everything I could to help him do that, Your Honor. His wife and her attorney used every obstacle and every trick on the books to try to prevent the divorce. Do you know why, Your Honor? John asked. I have a pretty good idea, but it has to be entered into the record, so go ahead, said the judge. When my client and his wife got married, she insisted on a very strictly worded prenuptial agreement. At the time, she had a high-paying job and my client had an entry-level position. He signed the agreement because he thought they were together forever. Now the document she used to protect herself at the beginning of their marriage has become her nightmare at the end of the marriage. The document clearly states that no alimony or spousal support will be paid. It clearly states that all financial assets will be divided based on the percentage of their combined income that each contributes. 2 years after they were married, my client was promoted to a management position, and he now contributes over 75% of their combined income. So even 2 years before his promotion is taken into account, he will still receive over 70% of their total financial assets. The document also clearly states that the real estate is the property of whoever owned it before the marriage. My client's wife owned 2 small homes before the marriage in an area of town where property values had plummeted. My client owned the house they lived in. That property improved, and the neighborhood around it increased in property values, so his property value more than tripled. So you see, Your Honor, my client's wife could lose access to a lot of money if the divorce goes through. The money in the bank records I have cited into evidence show that she had already tried to move 2 months ago, but my client shrewdly froze her assets until the divorce was finalized. Your Honor, my client has offered a settlement in accordance with the terms of the prenuptial agreement. My client's wife and her attorney challenged the proposed settlement as well as the validity of the prenuptial agreement. But the contract was primarily insisted upon by her, and she very carefully worded it to make it as strong as possible. She wanted it to be uncontested if they ever divorced, and she succeeded. Unfortunately for her, it's now biting her ass, John said. I am retiring to review the circumstances of the case and make a decision. We will reconvene here at 2 o'clock, said the judge. John and Eric's friends were careful to keep Lisa away from Eric during the recess. At 2 o'clock, everyone waited for the judge to return to the courtroom. After considering all the facts of this case, I have reached a decision. I approve the petition for divorce. It's pretty clear that Eric wants out, and Lisa wants to keep her meal ticket, the judge said. No, you can't do that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. You can't force me to get a divorce if I don't want to, Lisa said. Actually, I can, legally. This marriage is dissolved. Adjourned, said the judge. John turned to Eric. Congratulations, you are a single man, John said. He held out his hand, but Eric hugged him instead. Thank you, John. I'll never be able to repay you for this. You've given me so much more than freedom. You gave me my manhood back, Eric said. I'm glad I could help. Now, Mom and Dad's vacation will be a bit of a stretch for me, but it's a small price to pay. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, how do you like your new car? John asked. I like it. If she hadn't bought Mark a Challenger, I would have bought one for myself. It was a huge treat when we came with the court order to take it away from Mark, said Eric. John smiled. Let's get out of here, John said. John and Eric walked out of the courtroom. When they did, they saw that Lisa was sitting there crying, and they both smiled. The end!